All right, here we go. Starting things a little bit differently today. Earlier than usual, and no starting screen. Just like, I figured that, what am I waiting around for? What's up, Alex? How you doing? Just want to turn this down so I can hear myself think. How's your day going, boss? Good to see you. Also, great stream on Sunday. You're doing my style of stream intro, just go. Well, actually, you have a starting soon screen, don't you? I think I've seen it when I've joined your lives. Also, I don't know how you stream on console. Like, when I first started streaming back in 2014, like when I just did a couple, it was never serious. I streamed from my Xbox One, and it just seems so rudimentary. I mean, granted, a lot of the things that were available, that are available now, weren't available back then. So, I don't know. It seems really hard to stream from console. What's up, Panda? Good to see you. Depends on the game. Is it true that BioShock can't be streamed from console? For whatever reason, they just never made it allowable to be streamed? Driving to get the kids. I'll be able to chat more when I get home. No worries, Panda. I realize I kind of scheduled this last minute. I mean, I typically do Tuesday streams, but usually not this early. So, totally understandable. I just appreciate the fact that you guys are here. So, you know, to be quite honest, looking at how my schedule goes, I don't know how you guys are ever able to keep track of what I'm doing. I know as a viewer, I would have a hard time. Like, this dude goes live whenever he wants. It's insane. So, I think that is the case for BioShock. I wonder why they did that. Why did they decide that this game, randomly, out of all the games that are out there, is not going to be streamable? That I never understood. I would think a game publisher would want their game to get as much exposure and coverage as possible, right? Speaking of which, it would be really fun to do a BioShock stream on the PC. I believe there's a way where you can get it to come up. But streaming from console, it seems like a no-go. Unless there's some new workaround that I'm unaware of. It's the same case with Counter-Strike. Like, the amount of hoops you have to jump through in order to get Counter-Strike to run is super annoying. There's so many hoops. Like, you have to either put it in untrusted mode, or you have to change some of the launch options, or you just run it in windowed. So, I don't know what's up with that. I get it's related to cheating and malware and things like that, but really, OBS, you can't put them on a whitelist? Just doesn't make any sense. You should see what Nintendo thinks about that. What does Nintendo think about that? Okay, so we should probably address the issue at hand based on the thumbnail, or for anyone who joins this stream with no context. It isn't just clickbait. There is some meaning behind the picture. I was thinking this morning when I went for my jog, my usual run, like, how can I make today's thumbnail more interesting? How can I put more of a story behind it and give it some meaning that people might be curious about and give them a reason to click on it? And it kind of led to the entire theme of today's stream, which is it's a way of practicing my new mindset for YouTube. And I know you, Alex, and Panda will understand this because you guys are creators, entrepreneurs. And for the longest time, It was always about creating the content itself, because that's the process I love, is making the thing. But it's easy to forget that it all needs to be wrapped up in a package if you want people to click on it. And the first thing people see are your title and thumbnail. So I digress. The thing I do want to discuss today is where inspiration or ideas come from. So I'll give you the story of what you see in those pictures. Fun fact, feeling much better after positive feedback on my resume today. Good. That's awesome, Panda. Also, thank you for sending me that message to review, because I know how scary or daunting it can be to put yourself out there like that, to take initiative. But I think getting feedback is good. And it's something that I have been working on with my own project. I'm always the type of person to go, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to figure it out on my own. I think because as a kid, I always felt like I needed help with things, and it made me feel helpless, and my parents encouraged me to do things on my own. And that passed on to me as an adult. Like anytime I need help, I feel like, I shouldn't be getting it. But we don't get through anything without help in some way, shape, or form. So it's nothing to feel bad about. And now that the rough draft for episode 2 is 90% done, I can finally start sending it to people and getting their feedback. And it doesn't just have to be experts. Getting the feedback of someone who would be a potential viewer is important as well, because even though their eye may not be as trained, they have perspectives that I, as the writer, would not notice. Oh, what's up, Trippy? Rome is literally today's Plato. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I would say I consume all of that type of content on YouTube. I love watching videos about philosophy and stoicism, whatever. Actually, Trippy, when I was going to university, I took a philosophy class. And I thought it was going to be something I really enjoyed and had a good time in. That class was insanely hard. It was, man, it's one thing when you take a math class and it's pretty much understood that there's one equation everyone is supposed to reach, right? If you do the formula properly and all of the math steps in the right order, you'll come to the correct conclusion. But when I was taking philosophy, it was the same approach, but for seemingly subjective material. So we would get essays asking for our interpretation of certain doctrines that previous philosophers had come up with. And I would give my opinion on it, but I guess my opinion wasn't educated enough in some papers that I did. So I had a really hard time. Very unexpected. I really struggled with that class. I can totally ask Cookie to review the draft if you'd like, since she is a writer. Yeah, absolutely. I will send it. I'm hesitant to send you the draft though, Panda, because I feel like every time I work on an episode, it's for you to be surprised by. So I don't know how you feel about that. If you want to read it, by all means. But when I was working on episode 1, I thought Panda can't know what happens until she sees it. It's supposed to be a surprise. Because like I've mentioned before, you were in large part an inspiration for me having the confidence to do it. So I figured if there should be any like curtain draw, it would be for you. I can't help you because I want to be surprised. I probably should have read that before I started talking. Yeah. That's a great point. Exactly. Okay, but to the story though of the thumbnail. So when I was writing, oh shoot, I just realized I didn't set up my camera. That's okay. I can do that while I'm talking. So while I was writing, or no, before I was writing, I was coming up with ideas. So the way my process works when it comes to developing projects is usually I will hear a song or I'll have a thought come up in my head and a visual will come to mind. Something like an action of a character or a scene, a location, a place with some sort of conflict or not. There's not always conflict. And in the process of doing that, I get really, really motivated. Like that visual evokes a certain emotion. Like maybe it's happiness or sadness, or maybe I'm feeling sad about something, and that visual perfectly portrays or characterizes that sadness. So I get these really intense visions of what something looks like. And then I think I have to make this. Like this has to become a thing that people can see. Because for me, expression through art is, oh my gosh, I'm looking weird now. Yeah, that should be better. Expression through art is of utmost importance to me. All right. Some other people, they don't care so much because that's just not what draws them in life. But I found over and over again, evidenced by growing up, examples growing up, that is something that was really important to me. So I will have an image. I'll have something come to mind, and then I will very quickly, this is key, and this is one of the practical pieces of advice for creatives, and I'm sure there are other people who will confirm this. You have to make a note of it as quickly as possible. Otherwise, that idea will disappear. And it's happened to me many times. I have this stupid notion in my head sometimes where I'm like in bed and I don't want to, I'm not going to get up and write something down. But it's important to me. And then in my head, I'll say, Ted, you already know? You've been here long enough that you can recognize when they appear. This is like the third time in the past couple streams. By the way, what's up, Ted? How are you doing? I don't want to know. I will. Okay. How's it going, Chamber? How are you doing? Hang on, let me launch something because I want to have something running in the background while I do this. But what I was saying is you need to write them down, or no, the mindset I had was, if it's really that important, I'll remember it later. Sometimes that's true, but very seldom do I actually remember the ideas. The message is copy pasta. Was it after the hello? Because I can't even see it. Panda might have been fast enough to get rid of it. Okay, talk to Cookie. She's totally happy to provide feedback on the draft. Okay. Hey Siri. Remind me in 2 hours to email Panda the rough draft. Which one is the spam? I now know this isn't spam because they actually acknowledged it. There was one the other day though that was pretty sus. Okay, Vegas is calling my name. I was really debating what I want to play in the background here. It's going to be R6 Vegas. It's fitting too because it's retro. How can I prove I'm not spam? One ball is dead, the other is stuck in a far. Oh my goodness. Curious, interesting. That definitely conjures some visuals to mind. Okay, so going to the example. I'm getting off track here. All right. Oh, hang on. Going to the example. So I was going for my run, and it just so happened to be a relatively overcast day. But it wasn't just like any like boring overcast day where the clouds are all nasty and just, like it's super depressing. This was like it was like a Van Gogh. the sky looked like a Van Gogh. So it definitely like inspired a certain mood to it. But it wasn't just that. There was this really cool color contrast with the building next to it against the sky. And it's like a 6 or 7 story building. And close to the top floor, there's a balcony. And the sliding door on this balcony was open. And you could see a single ceiling light illuminating that area. And getting the feeling of this warm coziness contrasted against the dark, cold blueness of the sky, just, I don't know, it really spoke to me in that moment. So I had to stop and take a picture of it and write down the feelings I associated with it. It was almost a sense of escape. And for those of you who have seen episode 1 of my series, which is on YouTube if you want to check it out, link should actually be in the description if I haven't changed it. You would know that a lot of the themes of my series are based around dealing with anxiety and mental health issues through the lens of fantasy and dreams. And you know, there's a bit of a dichotomy related to that where you are, oh, our boy's already down over here. This isn't good. Where you combine escape with a sense of confrontation. That may not necessarily make sense, but when you see it play out on screen, I think there's always there's an opportunity to clarify that notion. Hang on, I need to switch to assault. Or actually, no, I just need to switch to my M8. They're already in assault mode. I noticed something on your channel. Okay, I got you.
Contact Tango. Tango neutralized. We got trouble. Engaging Tango. Engaging Tango.
So the main takeaway from that is
On my way.
have a messy notebook at all times, because the more you can write things down, the more you can reference back later. And I'm in the phase right now of writing episode 2 where I've gotten the basic narrative out in the way that I would like, but it's time to go back, and I don't even know who shot me there. All right. It's time to go back and start adding some of the aspects, what would you say, like the signature accents, if you will, that goes beyond just getting from point A to point B, but actually makes it an exciting journey, or it makes it appear unique. Give me 1 sec. I just want to check something. Okay, cool. So really, that's the key there. I don't know if anyone in chat is working on a project of their own or on a film, but it's not easy. Even if it may seem easy from the outside, especially when you see some really, really talented artists and performers make it happen with seemingly little effort. It's a lot of hard work, and it takes a village to make one scene start to look cool. Carmen, if Carmen were here right now, she would be making fun of my aim. Unfortunately, I can't lower the sensitivity any further on this game because it's so old. It just like is set at a certain height. I heard something. So then, let's say you have a great idea for a project. Then what do you do? Hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing? then you have to figure out how you're going to execute it, right? You have to find the motivation to see that through. And that can be an entire challenge in and of its own. And then when you aren't feeling motivated to make it, then you start to question if you're even interested in it at all. You're like, wait, do I just not care enough?
Go.
And that could be a possibility, but there's lots of ways you can look at it, right? Like, it could just be you're at a point in your life where it's not, it's not a central focus, and that's okay because you have other stuff going on. Or it may just be fear, or you don't feel like you have the means. And I'm very envious of people who naturally have the propensity to, like, most people find excuses as to why they can't do stuff, but there's very few people, and I've met one for sure. Actually, I met a couple where they are always finding an excuse as to why they can do things. And even when things get really hard or tiresome, they still stick it out. Like they keep pushing through, you know? And where a lot of people say, oh, that's, that's too expensive for us to do. Like we can't shoot in this location because it's, it's outside of our pay range. I've learned that where there's a will, there's a way. And if you find an opportunity to make that happen, you absolutely can. So like, I can think of a perfect example when we were shooting episode 1, ready to come home. I'm tired. How's it going, dude? Are you, have you wrapped all of your performances? Congratulations, by the way. I hope everything, oh God, was that no, that's just a flashbang. When we were doing episode 1, we were location scouting for the huge fight scene, right? Which was at a warehouse. And the one we found looked really cool. They had shot a ton of awesome music videos there, but it was really expensive. I think the starting price for the space we ended up using was about $1,500 an hour. And we needed about 8 hours of shooting. It is like, working 2 part-time jobs, that was not in the cards at all. It was just way too expensive. So I went to the location. I gave it a shot anyway, instead of just moving on and saying that's a no-go. I spoke to the owner and explained to him what we were doing, what the project was that I was working on. And he was very accommodating. He said, normally we charge this amount, but if no one books the spot on the day that you plan on shooting, I'm willing to give it to you for, it was a significantly lower price. It was like 10 times lower. And so I was like, yeah, great, we'll take it. Like, I can take what I can get. And that brings me to another important point. And it's when you are a small creator, if you want to see your vision through, you have to be willing to make compromises in some places or others. Because you don't have the resources to do every single thing you want. Hey, what's up, Carmen? How are you doing? They're all in repertory for another week. Last week of tech was 2 weeks ago, I think. Oh, I see. Let me switch to YouTube so I see other comments. I mean, you can see them. They're just, they're only on screen. But I was saying that you can't do whatever you want if you don't have the resources available, whether that's money, time, or manpower. If you have to work, then your schedule may not pan out in a way that works for the people that you want to work with, and you just have to, you gotta tango. And I know limitations might seem like a pain, but I'm of the mindset that 1, they enhance creativity, and 2, they teach you to become a way more adaptable artist. Hey, what's up, Austin? How are you doing? I'm on the phone too. Oh, I see. That's why. They teach you to become a more adaptable artist, and you get better at learning how to gauge your risks. Yeah, like some people, especially when they're really new, they think, oh yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to make it happen. And I'm thinking, how exactly? Like what makes you think that that's going to be possible? That sounds so unrealistic. But of course, when they shoot the project and they realize how hard it is, they'll learn. And they think you have to be careful, because if you tell people they can't do things, they think that you're just trying to shoot down their idea and you're like a Scrooge. But, you know, if it comes from experience, then you're just trying to help. But sometimes people have to burn their hand on the stove, right? So working with limitations, I think, is really great. Teaches some important skills. And you may find that what you come up with on a limited scale not only serves you later down the line when you come across a strange obstacle on a bigger production that people haven't run into, but it might end up looking better than what your original idea was. So that's why I'm a huge advocate of improvising and seeing what comes of it. Everything kind of happens, and I don't. Everything kind of happens. I don't have to think about it too much, but it's also starting to get a little stale. Really? Oh, you're talking about like in the duration of the show. You don't. Oh my God. Did I do this? Holy. You're talking about within the scope of the show. I thought you were saying like the show itself. Like, oh man, I'm so overdoing it. I mean, that's fair too, though, because, you know, you may be working really hard to. I mean, Kobe talked about this. Rest in peace. He talked about how after he retired from basketball, he fell into a pretty deep depression, you know, despite having won so many trophies and awards and recognition for his skill and his hard work. You know, the endless hard work that he put into playing, he still felt a sense of loss afterwards, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Jesus, it really puts us back this far? You'd think there'd be a checkpoint at least in the hallway or something, but I guess not. Piling the body. Yeah. Need to get some food. What's on the menu today, Alex? What's for lunch? Yeah, it's still technically lunchtime, right? Is 3 p.m. considered lunchtime?
When the fuck they
Lunner?
back?
I just had my lunch like 20 minutes ago, so I totally feel you.
Hustle. Check your fire. Return fire only. In position.
The next time I'm on set with you, I'm pulling a SAG-AFTRA, and I want some. Don't you have to be a member of SAG-AFTRA to do that? Which is kind of ironic, because technically I would be the one pulling that. But what, am I going to pull cash for myself? You know, okay, here's one of the downsides of joining a union. Especially when you're in a field that's so competitive, is you kind of need as many projects under your belt as possible. This is why the overriding advice typically is, if you're an actor and you're non-union and you have the opportunity to join because maybe you worked on a job that made you eligible, it's way better to stay non-union or stay eligible and keep that on your resume than to actually join, because once you're in, it cuts you out of a whole bunch of project opportunities. Okay?
Double time.
The only reason why it would be a better idea to join, and this was kind of my mindset a couple years ago, is that you can't control the quality of projects you work on as much when you're doing non-union work. Okay? So you're doing a lot of student films, you're doing a lot of unpaid commercials, you're doing photo shoots, and those are cool. Like, some of them can be fun, but some of them feel like a massive waste of time. And that's one of the things that the union is great at. Putting you on better quality projects and making sure that you get paid for working on them. That's the real value that you're getting. And making sure you're kept safe. Okay? Because a lot of these directors and producers out there, a surprising number, at the highest level even, don't know what they're doing. And they are putting people's lives at risk when they're making a project. And things like the union make sure that it's less of an issue. It mitigates some of the problems that arise.
Get over here.
All right, we need to get our boys back. Oh, one of them still. Oh, I guess they got him. I'm not sure what I have.
With you.
I know. I'm just messing with you. That's okay. You gave me a great talking point. Coming home until at least September 22nd. Might have a tour. Then I'll be taking up in November. Looking into auditioning for Coachella Valley Rep when I get back home. If you could choose, Chris, would you stay where you're at now and like look for gigs there, or do you miss being back at home? I'm curious what your thoughts are now that you've been away for a little bit of time. Dude, you can tell the voice actors in this game definitely not union. Actually, no, they probably weren't. I don't think this game would have spent the money on it. I mean, Ubisoft would have the budget, but
You are weapons
I don't think they would have spent the money.
Open and clear.
Do you have any interest in voice acting? I don't know. I just voice acting is kind of fun, but I prefer the feeling of being on set. Oh wow, they cleared everything out. Nice. Now I'm ready to be home. Really? I'm surprised. I thought you would have been like, oh god, I don't want to go back there. I'm just like, you've been out there thriving. If I had a car out here, then yeah, I'd stay for another month. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, not having a car can be a real inhibitor, as it were. Okay, I think we hit a checkpoint. So one of the things that I struggle with when it comes to writing is going beyond the visual. So I talked a little bit before about how the first thing that comes to my mind is the visual or the action, and maybe some semblance of a conflict if it's really detailed. But where I have a hard time is making the narrative relatable or cohesive, making the characters believable in the sense that people recognize the experience that they're going through in a way that they themselves have experienced. So writing is obviously an art form in and of itself, and it takes a ton of work, like not just drafting, but redrafting again and then again and then again until you're like on your 5th or 6th or 7th, and then getting feedback to do that is really important because other people notice the things that you completely miss. I hear someone below me. It sounds like he's... Why does he keep clearing his throat? There he is. There's another one though, because he just freaked out. Where's this guy? In the doorway? He's not on the map? What if I just chuck a nade over here? No? Nothing? Alright, we'll just head downstairs. I hope I don't regret this. Carmen already trying to start something. I got it. I'll let your passive-aggressive comments pass for now. That's fine. So the real question is, how do you develop a really multi-dimensional character? Or characters? And the answer is, it takes a lot of work. And
Prepare for entry.
I've gotten a lot better about this. I mentioned it when Alex joined earlier, Carmen, but now that you're here, I think you'd appreciate this since you're also working on your channel. But having the idea is key. Like, it is paramount above all that the idea be good before you necessarily even get to creating it. And so, while I might be inspired by a visual, the emotion that I feel is not enough. It needs to be something that can be replicated across the board. And the way that I do that is by being very brutal about it. I have to say, look, this might sound cool, it might look cool, but what is the underlying message of it? If there is any. And if there isn't, and I can't find one, it's not going to happen. It's time to be thrown out in favor of something that is more useful. Okay? And there has to be balance, right? Like
Stack up.
there's this idea of just making art for art's sake, which is totally fine. Like, you can do that. But if you are trying to make a career or a job out of it, it needs to... Oh my god, that guy would have smoked me if they hadn't cleared that. Thank god we set up.
Back on me. Roger.
If you want to make a career out of it, there has to be a bit of strategy that goes into it and some thought and research that goes into its presentation. It's just the reality of it, you know? As much as I love Lady Gaga for her pureness of art in my eyes, she has said herself on interviews that you can't just, you know, vomit out whatever's there. Like, it has to be packaged in a way that's digestible. So that involves a lot of examining the ideas, coming up with different variations of them, and then taking the one that seems best and then continuing to revise that idea over and over and over and over again. Okay? And being very strict about it. You know? Some people get lucky and they come up with an idea that they just naturally like. They share it and it does really well. But the problem with that is it actually becomes harder to replicate down the line because you don't really know what worked. Okay? And maybe it is broad enough that just you as an individual are the thing that's so compelling, or is the thing that's so yeah, you are the thing that's so compelling. But that's oftentimes not the case. You know, people are very fickle and they have high expectations, especially now, especially where so many people can create their own content that, you know, you have to stand out. And it has to be your authentic idea, but it can't just be that. There needs to be more. Okay? And that's where we get into burnout. That's something I kind of have felt lately. It's just trying to find that balance between making my idea as good as possible and not getting tired of it. Not wanting to, you know, there's some points where I want to give up. It's like that. My character just gave up. That stuff. Oh well. I'm having a bad day at work, so I need to bug you. What's happening at work that's bad, Carmen? Just got to make sure to make them human. Yeah. Well, they need to have human attributes. It's confusing because you think, oh, well, a realistic person is a believable person that people will connect with.
Stack up.
Whereas characters in stories, especially film, aren't necessarily real people. They are symbols for things that people experience and perspectives that people have. That's what you have to remember, because what people walk away with is the message that character was trying to convey through their actions, not all of the little intricacies that real life people... Like, look, if you made a truly realistic person in a film, they would be all over the place because, you know, there's points where, like, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad, I'm adventurous, I'm a homebody. And if you were to try to explore all those things in every character at the same time... Oh, they have good shots today. You're just going to come up with a big, huge mess. So you have to be distinct in what every character's purpose is, because they are, at the end of the day, plot devices. A lot of the time in writing, what happens is making characters very idealistic. Yeah, so it depends what sort of stuff you're writing as well, you know? You see this a lot with female characters, especially with male writers, is they'll create this female love interest that matches exactly the specifications of what they want in a real life partner. And so it becomes this really kind of... It becomes a trap where the audience sees this and they start to think that those are real characteristics that they can see. I've definitely fallen into this trap where I think, oh my gosh, I see this type of person portrayed on screen and like, that's the type of person I want to be with, where you have to connect the dots and go, that's not a real person. That's a character written by someone that an actress played. Even if she herself embodies some of the attributes of that character, that doesn't mean that that's really who she is. And while there is the argument to be made that sometimes life imitates art and people will start to act like the characters they see in film, they're still not perfect. And the circumstances that play out in a movie are not the same as the ones that we experience in real life. Oh, I have flashbangs. Okay, I'll make this work. I'm just gonna swing really hard up here, and just push. I got scared and my aim got really bad for a second. Oh no, get out of the way. Ooh, those stairs are always one of the most awkward points in the game. Okay, there's one more. I don't know if he went upstairs or downstairs. So yes, you're totally right, Alex. Making characters, trying to think of a good word for this. Okay, he's just, I guess I gotta do it myself. Whatever. All this work talk is making me feel like I gotta go to work. Oh, good, good. I'm glad, Ted. Go to work. Thanks for coming through. Glad to see you in chat. Take care, boss. You're the best. The micromanagement type. Oh, hang on. I'm missing some context here. So this guy was promoted to senior account management, and like he takes this title seriously, like Dwight from The Office. He makes a big deal out of the smallest things. That's so funny because Dwight is such a clear image of what this person's personality is. I love that. It's hilarious. Today he's having like a power trip and he's like picking on every little thing. Some of my coworkers are like hella annoyed. So there's this double-edged sword in the workplace, right? You want to be good and competent at your job, but if you're doing it to the detriment of your employees or you're getting on your nerves, you're actually not doing your job that well. And people don't realize this. They think, well, I'm super good about my work. Like I show up and I do everything right. Like, yeah, but if your job is to work with other people and they're not wanting to work with you, then it's actually backfiring in a way. You know, it's not just about you, it's about the whole. It's about the team. And yeah, that's tricky. Not everyone has the clairvoyance to see that. I don't know if clairvoyance is the right term, but it sounds nice, so I'm going to use it. Making characters is definitely not a strength of mine, but I still like doing it just to see what I can create from. Well, Austin, it's a skill just like everything else. And I'll tell you something that I realized recently, something I realized recently. I always thought people who were photogenic were just naturally photogenic, right? Like you just take a picture of them and they look good. And some people, yeah, more so than others, just like how some people are naturally better at football than others. But being photogenic is actually a skill in some way. It's about learning to be confident with poses, right? Having a clear idea of what you're trying to communicate in the image with your positioning and with your lighting and with the composition and the framing. Like it's the same concept that I've been explaining in regards to creating the characters and doing film. I always thought it was like you just either are or you aren't, but that's not true at all. And so characters, you may have an inkling of something that really sticks out to you as being cool, but if you take the time to explore that further, you may find you can make the character not die like mine. Is what it is. That's okay. You can restart and redraft and make it better. So I'll tell you right now, one thing that will help you if you're coming up with characters is answer this question. 2 questions, actually. Okay? One, I forget it's 30 words or 30. No, it's 30 words. In 30 words or less, can you tell me what the log line is of your story? Okay? What's it about? Who does it happen to? And what are the stakes? Okay? If you can answer that question, you have solved a ton of your problems right there. Okay? The second question is, based on that logline, what purpose does that character serve in the grand scheme of the story? Okay? Are they opposing the main character's worldview, their journey? Are they helping it? Are they helping it, but with a different objective, a different perspective? If you can align everything along those lenses, you're saving yourself so much trouble. You don't go to a football game and then think about everything outside the stadium. Like, oh my God, the ball could come from, 3 blocks away. Like, no, it's not. It's going to come from within the yard line, whatever the distance is. Okay. So you want to think of your writing in that same way too. You create boundaries that you work within. Otherwise it becomes overwhelming. Okay. It's super important to do this, I think. Fraser Morrison, damn good advice. Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's definitely, this doesn't come from me. This comes from lots of studying of, thank God for YouTube. There's so many resources from filmmakers available. This is partially what I learned in film school. So there are a lot of, there's a lot of things that you can look at online that will serve this purpose. I try to every day study at least one video that will help me in the process of creating my project. By the way, Fraser, hope you're having an awesome Tuesday. Micromanagement up in this office. Let's go. Let's micromanage this. I'm all about it. Let's get annoyed. There's a customer that was like $80 short from freight prepaid, and my coworkers were going to talk to the owners to let the order go because the customer wants to cancel the whole thing, and he got mad because he didn't want that. Uh-oh. I told him so he'd rather lose a sale. Nice one. And he got bothered. Oh, yeah. And part of the challenge is learning how to diffuse the situation without making it worse. So I totally understand where you're coming from, Carmen. That's not easy to deal with. Okay, let's try frag him that time. Oh! God. Keep missing the second guy. I know you're not into turn-based stuff, but I have a feeling you'd find the story, excuse me, at the very least interesting and the dialogue options fun. For which game? Did I miss it? Did I miss a conversation about which game this is? The last message I see is a gravestone. Carmen gonna make the... Yeah, for real. Carmen is going to hard push with the tank. And she's going to cause the DPS to turn on each other and the healers to start healing each other instead of the tank. And the opposing team is going to push and start emoting on the objective while everyone else watches. That's a perfect Overwatch analogy to what Carmen's workplace is turning into. Okay, I should probably just take this a little more slowly, right? Maybe I just send my teammates in. Oh, crap. Oh, no. They have to move here for the event to be triggered. And there's one thing on film sets you absolutely cannot overcome no matter what level you work at. And Robert Downey Jr. has talked about this. It's personality, okay? If you are working with someone who is... They're just not vibing, okay? Everything is going to slow down. It's going to be a really difficult process all the way through. That's how it goes. And, you have a couple options. If you're someone in charge, you can get rid of the person, which is a whole mess and can of worms in and of itself. Or you can change your behavior and try to adapt. And that doesn't mean bending over backwards or being weak. It doesn't mean like just giving up your perspective so that everyone gets along. It means navigating, okay? It is like diffusing a bomb in a certain manner of speaking, okay? Like, I would say Siege or Valorant are perfect analogies for this because the opposing team doesn't want you to win, right? They're trying to win. Only one of you is going to win. So how do you reconcile who actually wins? Well, you have to adapt to what they're doing offensively, okay? Allow them to make mistakes. You have to position yourself in a way that gives you a higher chance of coming out on top.
Hold up.
But the dynamic is a little different in a workplace environment because these aren't your opponents, they're your teammates, okay? So how do you navigate a teammate that's tough to work with? Well, maybe you don't say anything to them at all. Okay, maybe that is the solution. Someone is so toxic they're being rude to you, then yeah, you don't engage with them. I don't think there's any scenario where engaging with them is better unless you're the person in charge, engaging with them for the sake of telling them that they no longer have their job, or they're going to lose it if they don't change their behavior. Oh, I can't see these guys. Did I get that kill? Oh, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. So it's not obvious, but the answers are there. You can overcome a lot of the... I thought they were the enemies for a second. I think once they start moving up the elevator, we have a chance. We have a chance to fight. Yeah. So they spawn up top. Is that 3 or 4 kills? We can shoot through this glass as well, which is nice. The only problem is my team's getting lit up. This is the first time I've actually found a safe angle in this scenario. Oh, wow. They actually... So they posted up top and bottom and won their gunfights. That's kind of crazy. Oh, Baldur's Gate 3. I see. How's that game doing, by the way? I see it's popping up on the stream charts. It's like explode. Ah! Never mind, they didn't clear it out. Bro, my teammates perfectly blocked me from... Like, I went up there, I was getting shot, I couldn't move up further. I went down and... Oh, I knew it was a trap. It was a trap from the get-go.
Regroup on me. Copy.
I didn't write the game, but I thought of it. Really? You thought of the entire story? Dude, you should be a game writer. You already have the experience developing, right? Like, you know how the coding aspect works. Just be a developer or be a writer now. And then get me a job. Actually, no, get me a job in mocap. That's something I'd prefer to do because that's more down the acting lane. You know what I mean? How'd it go, Panda? So going back to a really key point I was talking about earlier, and it's balancing a creative vision with the limitations of budget, equipment, actors, etc. And in many ways, the limitations will save you a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry and concern. Because think about some of these big productions. Last summer, they shot a Nike commercial at my old high school. I was there teaching summer camp, so I saw the production trucks, the tents, the performers, the crew, everyone. And it was, no exaggeration, like a small movie festival. The amount of people that were there working on this, I don't know, probably 30-second video was insane. They had 3 or 4 food trucks. They had all these things. Now you got to think, someone's in charge of all that. Like, they're running the show here. And that is a ton of stress and pressure. I couldn't imagine putting together a production of that size. The largest production I've ever worked on was a pickup shot for a classroom scene at USC. We had to hire about 60 actors to be on camera. We had to find a body double, or I had to find a body double to make it happen. And, you know, we had to shoot it and get the location. Man, this guy's really annoying. He's just interrupting me. Yeah, let's switch to infiltrate. We only had 2 or 3 crew members on that. We had 3 crew members on that shoot.
Flash and clear.
Did that guy not go down? Oh no, did we lose someone? Oh no, we waited too long. That's okay. I was going on my my rant, that's why. So the point being is when you have a lot of responsibilities like that, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And so having the limitations actually makes it easier to focus on the work of creating the story. Okay? Look, if you want to start off being
Flash and clear. Hear that?
being as creative as you want with the idea, that's totally fine. And then as it progresses, you just dial back, okay? That's one of the reasons why I like working with a director while I do the writing process, because while my ideas start off super emotional and ambitious, she usually tells me the things right off the bat that we're not going to be able to do.
Bitch, I knew it.
Just goes through it step by step. This scene's not going to work. We might be able to swing this one. No, this isn't trying to avoid challenges. Like, there are points in the script where we get ambitious. She says, this is going to be hard, but let's try for it. Like, shooting at the desert location is one of them, because I imagine it's going to be expensive and it's going to be a long drive, and where we're going to set up the cast and crew is still up for debate. But we want to push ourselves. But if we wanted to shoot like a crazy scene in a studio where it's going to be $3,000 an hour, then maybe that's not such a great idea. You know, I got lucky on episode 1, but you're not always going to have that luck. So working with the limitations is really great. And it allows you in some ways, I forgot the guy who said this. He was a manager, I believe, or an agent who discovered like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Kanye West, a bunch of artists from the past few decades who ended up getting really big. And he talks about how working within the confines of limitations actually makes you more creative, because you have a specific lens through which to look at the project instead of everything. Because when it's everything, it can be anything. And anything, honestly, is not that interesting, right? A clear idea, a clear theme is way more interesting than whatever you want, okay? It's like when someone says, what do you want to eat? And you're like, oh, I don't know, whatever you'd like. That doesn't really narrow anything down. That is, it's a complete non-answer, you know? When someone asks me if I don't have a specific restaurant in mind, at the very least I'll say, Italian sounds good, right? Okay, cool. Now that brings an image to mind. Spaghetti, pizza, you know, like you could think of a bunch of things in that scope. Or you say Korean, okay, Korean barbecue. Now we're getting somewhere. That is way more valuable information than, oh, I'll do whatever. And people fall into that trap so often. You know, I'll just make anything. Panda was talking about this last stream in regards to building her candle business. You can't just make whatever you want for whoever, because then no one will be interested, because it's not catered to anyone. So those limitations can be a really, really great thing. And as far as the actual things that you'll run into, okay, I would say the number one thing is probably location, right? So the thing that makes a film high production value over everything else are the locations, okay? If it takes place on Mars and you find a place that looks like Mars, it's really convincing. You know, maybe the costumes aren't so good. That could screw you up, or the mic audio is not good. That'll screw you up. But the locations are what give the audience the idea that this is a big budget production. I hate all these trees that are blocking my line of sight. Like, how am I supposed to hit these guys? If a film takes place in very few locations, then it's harder to make it exciting. It's possible for sure. I mean, think of a show like 12 Angry Jurors. That entire play takes place in one room the whole time. And there's quite a few plays that are like this. But to do that on camera, I think it's a tough sell. You have to be really, really compelling. So I think outlining a list of the locations you have available to you is more important than actually coming up with the story for the locations, because that way you go into the story with the idea of what will be possible rather than trying to go back and rewrite everything to accommodate for them. That makes sense. You know, there is no rule at the end of the day as to the order in which you do these things, but some things work better for others, and you know, you don't want to get too crazy. I'm sorry, but the way those guys fell was just so utterly goofy. Dude, this game is ridiculous. I love it so much. It makes me want to go to Vegas. Like, could you imagine trying to do a short film where you have a bunch of special forces guys fighting in a casino like this? Like, imagine how high budget this would be. Just the costumes alone would cost you like 5 or 7 grand, maybe even more. Getting the props. Right now, we're in the process of getting swords for episode 2. Like we're getting. So I made a little oopsie, a little learning experience on episode 1. I got stage combat ready swords, which in my head was like, they look realistic and they allow you to, they allow you to make contact and they won't take damage, right? Because, you know, like metal against metal contact is very degrading. And so you don't want them to break. Well, it turns out that they're not made for the level of combat and rehearsal that we were going for. What you're supposed to do with stage combat swords is practice with something else, and then on the day of the show, you use them on camera. And the choreography is in such a way that you're not making insane contact against one another. Oh, I'm out of ammo. I forgot to use that box earlier. Oh, well, I think we're at a checkpoint anyway. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So the problem was, we went into the shoot. The swords are super heavy. We're hitting them against each other for 8 hours. We'd already been hitting them against each other for rehearsal. And they started to become serrated. So even though they were dull and relatively safe, they're heavy metal blunt objects, but the edges started getting sharp. And I would be lying if I said there weren't any cuts, scrapes, or bruises on that set. Dude, even just like the crossguard on the longsword I was using, like cut me on my hand just from like running my hand against it. That stuff is dangerous. So lesson learned, I realized how they do it in the actual industry. You are supposed to have props that look good in the close-ups, in the shots where you can see them, but then in the actual choreography, the fighting, you use either foam or fiberglass or aluminum replacements, okay? Because they're lighter, they're safer, and you don't need them to look perfect when you're swinging them around because it's going to be so fast, the camera's not going to catch them anyway. And you can make foam look pretty convincing nowadays. Like, you can give it a metallic-looking finish. So, that's the key. And I'm pretty relieved about this because the first shoot was really hard, swinging those heavy swords around. This next shoot is going to be a lot harder because we're going to be out in the desert in the heat wearing all black and all red with masks on. So having the lighter equipment and safer equipment is going to make a tremendous difference. And I think the quality of the fighting will look a lot better as a result. All right, we're just going to open and clear. No way, bro. How is he down? Oh, they're both down and I'm out of ammo. That's okay. Time to go full, Oh, actually, I've still got my SMG. We're chilling. We'll get that. We'll be fine. Mocap is super expensive, isn't it? Yes, it is. Well, the studio space and the the technology and the suit and everything you need. Oh! Everything you need to run mocap is expensive. Who is shooting at me? Okay, let's chill. We'll be patient. Why are you shooting the wall? Okay. I'm gonna res this guy. And then I'm gonna have my teammate res the other one. And they smoked us off, so I don't know how that helps them. That actually helps us in this situation. So the budget for episode 1 was pretty high for my pocket. But thankfully, because most of the expenses went to the props that we're going to be using repeatedly, we now have some more breathing room to get new props that make the filmmaking process easier, like the swords I just mentioned.
Get over here.
Okay, let's keep moving in here.
Follow me.
Whoa, there's someone else. Yeah, I'm not gonna risk. See, I can't get res unlike these guys, so they're gonna go in first. It sounds like they know where he is.
Mag change. Reloaded.
Oh, he's done. Okay. We're going to watch episode 1. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Bob 1 and Bob 2 got into a fight. Mercy pulling to restore Bob from Bob 2. It's funny that you're talking about production work because on my final project for a class, I was the producer level designer QA for the game project. Dude, you just reminded me. Like, I feel my heart goes out to one of our group project members in our game design class because he really carried us. He carried us hard. I'm not even going to pretend. Like, we survived because of him. Oh, this guy actually, normally he stays tucked right here and waits for us to come out, but oh no, I have to grab the hostage first. That's why. I grab him and then the guy spawns in that hallway. Okay, so let's get Dr. Smythe.
Save the thanks for
Is
later.
that his name?
We're getting you out.
To get him to follow us.
You're with me.
I'm with you.
Okay, so now we get out of here. I guess they patched the game where now when you take cover, your head doesn't bobble like a freakazoid. It just it stays normal. For the longest time, it was just like all crazy. Celine, thank you so much for the follow on TikTok. Appreciate it. Hope you're having an awesome day. By the way, do you want me to tell you the intro of Baldur's Gate 3 to see if it catches your interest? Sure. Yeah, that's appreciate that. I'm curious actually, Alex, what some of your responsibilities were working on that project for game design, for the quality assurance. Honestly, limitations help me a lot when I'm working on films because then I only have 1 or 2 options that are available, and that's good for decisions. Yeah, that is really true. Because rather than having limitless decisions, you can only work with the ones you're given, and you have to pick something. Okay, this guy's gonna be here. Yeah. And we're gonna have our boy chill, and then our team push in. I still have plenty of ammo for when we... No, there's a guy here. He's behind the desk. We'll frag it.
Open and clear.
Oh, or not. I pressed the wrong button. I always hit the wrong button. And I'm trying to get these frags here. Oh! That's a flash. I just wanted to put... they're posted up on the wrong... Oh, no, they're fine. They're fine. Let's get our hostage a little bit closer. Yeah, Austin, usually it comes down to... Do we shoot here or do we shoot here? What are the pros and cons of either one? Does it serve the overall purpose of the story? And, you know, can we make it happen? Because at the end of the day, we need the project to get done. And there will be endless opportunities for us to say we can't do it. Right? It's like, it's not going to work. We can't do it. It's not going to be possible. And if you can get through every single one of those, just making the film is such a huge accomplishment. Like you have to give yourself incredible props anytime you get one done. And you find that as you make projects, you build more and more confidence and you start pushing the envelope a little bit more. And as you get more funding, your ideas can get a little bit more exciting. And then the issues of choosing between two things aren't a problem anymore because you'll have more options and you'll have the ability to make decisions even if they're you know, like you won't get stuck picking them because you've already gone through the steps before in your smaller projects. I didn't catch the replies, or if you had questions, had to do something. Oh, no worries. Just saw a quote that I think we all need to hear. Before you take what's due, you got to do what it takes. Ah, interesting. Let me think about that one. You got to do what it takes. Yeah. I mean, you gotta prove yourself. You gotta prove yourself. there are some people who don't prove themselves. I think this is just a hypothesis, but I think a lot of creators that get famous really fast and at a really young age have a much harder time adapting to the fame because they have not been through all of the challenges that smaller creators have been through over a long period of time. They haven't had the experience or made the mistakes in a small scale environment that they're allowed to make. Because when you're really big and you mess up, no one ever lets you live it down, right? No one ever lets you live it down. So it's better to actually spend more time not being in the limelight. And that's why things like school are so important, because they give you an opportunity to make mistakes and things like that. I know a lot of people say that school is probably not that important for things like art and film, which I by and large agree with, but it does give you the opportunity to practice things that you otherwise couldn't on your own if you didn't have the right group to work with or the right connections. And you won't get penalized as hard for it because you aren't you're spending money to go to school, but you aren't necessarily putting your own budget into projects, you know? There is a rubric that you can follow that will allow you to learn at a somewhat efficient pace and at a low risk pace. Okay, I need to go back and grab our guy. Well, the level design aspect basically was getting the idea for a level, then building it, then testing it with the proposed mechanics for said level. Ah, I see. So how does that work? Is there a program that allows you to test the game while it's still in a developmental state? Or do you have to like export it, so to speak, so that you can play it? Because I imagine that could turn into a really tedious process. Just like constantly re-exporting versions of the game into a testable format. I'm curious as to how that works, Alex. Oh! Thank you, team. Anyone want to come hang out with Nicholas? He's adorable and smart, but also has way too much energy for my current mental state. What would be a good solution to a now... Wait, Panda, he's 8 now, or he's 9? What would an 8-year-old... What would help dissipate an 8-year-old's energy? Or not dissipate, but something he could do. Does he have any toys he can play with? Or does he have any toys he's into right now? Panda? As for Baldur's Gate 3, you get abducted by mind flayers, are infected with their parasite, and are trying to find a way to remove it. And along the way, a bigger journey unfolds. So it's kind of like the creature from Stranger Things? Is that what we're getting at here? Huh. Which game is this? This is Rainbow Six Vegas, Ryan Smith. This came out before I died. Which, I mean, that's technically true. It came out in 2005, 2006 on the Xbox 360. And is a tactical shooter. Rainbow Six Siege came out after Rainbow Six Vegas 2. And I figured I'd play it because 1, it's nostalgic, and 2, it doesn't take a ton of concentration like other shooter games do, like Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege, speaking of which.
Prepare for entry. Stacking up. What was that, man?
I think I'm just going to get through the entire section, and then we'll go back and get the hostage, because there's no point in just bringing him every 5 feet.
Frag and clear.
There we go. We pressed the right button this time. He's 7? Oh, I thought he was older. Oh! This is where engines like Unity and Unreal Engine come in. I see. This is okay, so I've used Unreal Engine a little bit, and as far as I'm aware, it allows you to go into a testing mode where you can Yeah, I didn't mean to put them there, but that's okay. We're gonna work with it.
In position.
Should I switch up my equipment? Let's try changing some things here. Okay, we've got the MP7, which I haven't really been using. I've got the M8. We can switch that to a AK, because the AK is a classic. We're going to switch the Glock to a Deagle, because the Deagle is a classic. Can we customize this? High capacity mag, here we go. Frags, flashes. I think I would prefer smokes. Now that I've been playing video games with smokes for longer, I actually know how to use them properly. We're about to focus on homework right now, so hopefully he'll settle down a bit. Ah, okay, okay. What kind of homework are we dealing with here, Panda? You can play your project as long as the coding is not broken. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I guess playing is one way to figure out if it actually functions properly. Oh my god, this weapon is so accurate.
Open and clear.
Oh wait, they're opening towards me.
What the hell?
Oh well. We're just gonna methodically clear this out. No, let's do this right. We have a team. We're gonna use them. We're gonna check first. We're gonna walk up, sneak up the stairs. Post them up here. Hopefully they don't get hit. Except I'm still getting hit even as I run out, which is kind of crazy. They're probably going to go down for the count, but oh well, tough is tough. And then we're going to look for an alternate angle here. I always like playing the off angle because it's much easier to flank as yourself than trying to get AI to flank for you. Also, don't you think it's kind of weird how we used to call this AI? Like, the enemies and the teammates were considered AI, where AI, as we understand it nowadays, is completely different. Like, it's a complete language learning model. Just, it's so weird how our terms advance like that, you know? Of course, have the assets like characters and levels done. How long does it take to create a level from start to finish, would you say, Alex? Maybe that's too broad of a question. Never mind, Sid just got him all worked up. Wait, is Sid one of the cats? I swear, I'm forgetting all of the Panda lore right now. I apologize, Panda. I think one of the advantages of being a content creator is your ideas are in some ways less limited because...
Go.
Wait, where did that send them?
Go.
Okay, it sent them up there. Because you could just use B-roll to explain everything and the audience is on board with it. You know? If you're trying to shoot a movie, like the movie kind of has to take place in real time at the location that you say it's happening at. You know, unless you cheat it with a studio or a set, which is a lot of work. Content creation, you can just tell stories and suggest things. And the B-roll could be of you or it could be of something completely unrelated and people are still on board with it. Oh! See, we would have made it past this section if it weren't for that one last guy. Okay? Now we just got to go back and get Dr. Smythe, I think it is. And then we will move on. One of these, one of the important points you have to consider as well is collaboration. It sounds good, hypothetically, but it involves having to relinquish some of the control over your project. Because you may have a very specific idea in mind about how you want something to appear or feel, but as soon as you get other people involved, their creativity now plays a factor. And I've experienced this firsthand because, you know, I have an idea of what I think the series will look like, but because Quinn is directing it, it's going to have Quinn's signature on it. It's going to be different in some way. And I may like it or I may not be a big fan, but we have to work out whether or not we see similar enough of a vision to continue to press forward and make something great, which I think it'll be great regardless. You know, sometimes your idea of something is actually not as good as what it'll turn out to be, like I mentioned earlier, but you have to be flexible. And I have worked on projects before where the whole thing fell through because one person or two people could not budge on their idea. Like they were so dead set on making it in this way that they couldn't see eye to eye with the other creatives, and just the whole thing fell through. And then another person refused to work on it, and it turns into a big mess, and it just, you know, it stops happening. You know, it's no longer a project anymore. Nice. So we actually made it to the end of this mission. What hotel is this supposed to be?
I'm not with Delta anymore. Bastards promoted me.
There's something cool about these old graphics. Like this right here, very vaporwave liminal space backrooms. Did you guys see there's a new backrooms game that looks super realistic? I sent it on TikTok to Panda and Carmen. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it looks incredible. I can't wait to play it when it's available. Assuming it isn't already. I don't know if it was given like exclusive access to some creators or not. You should look up D&D Mind Flayers for an... Oh, wait, that's right. Mind Flayer is from D&D. That's how they start Stranger Things, by mentioning the Mind Flayer and they're playing D&D. I think a project's success has a lot to do with the quality of the people working on it. I should probably change my loadout now because the next checkpoint is gonna... well, I'm fine with it. I'm just gonna change the sub. Change back to the MP5. We'll keep the reflex and we're chilling. You know, when people are experienced and they know how the flow of a certain step in the project is supposed to go, then you could work on the biggest project in the world and it'll go smoothly. Like if you guys watch Corridor Digital at all, they created a choreographed fight scene in like 2 days. But because the stunt people working on it were all very experienced and took initiative and were willing to provide insight to it, it made the choreographer's job so much faster. And when people trust the person in charge and trust their vision, then it's less of an issue. Like people don't question things as much. They just go, got it. I see exactly what you're saying. I'm on it. We're going to do it. You know, actually, I really like your idea. Here's something we can add on to it. The person's open-minded. And you say, great. Yeah, let's try it. Let's see if it works. And then you do it. Maybe it doesn't work. You guys have a nice laugh and that leads you to something else, or you just revert back to the thing. Like you can't do this with everyone. And you can't make people like this. Personality is such a huge factor on a production that collaboration and overall success is largely dependent on the investment of the individuals involved in making the project happen. And I think people don't realize that until it's too late. They meet someone who says, oh yeah, I want to make an idea. Like, okay. Wait, what is that supposed to be? Is that just a fictional hotel on the strip? It's like a sideways CSGO skating ramp or surfing ramp with skylights at the end. It's kind of cool, actually. I wish they had something like that in Vegas. So people think, yeah, you know, my homie wants to make a movie, so let's make a movie. And look, if you're just starting out, that's great. Like, try it. It's probably not going to be good, though. Actually, no. Here's what you learn. If a project is sufficiently difficult enough, you will figure out if someone has the cojones to make it happen, to see it through. And if some people like they cave and like, nah man, I can't do this, you'll know if they're people you can work with, okay? I mean, maybe there's something they're going through in their life, but more often than not, they're just like they can't take the heat. And you want to know as soon as possible who can take the heat on a an art project or not, okay? Because you should not be relying on them in the future if that's an issue, you know? Only people who want to be here and are willing to deal with changing circumstances all the time, those are the people you want to associate with and who you want to work with. So one of the biggest pitfalls I ran into when I was working on a different production, a web series, was trying to build out the logic of the world. It was science fiction, so it was a necessary thing to do, but I think we didn't focus enough on the story of the characters, the arc, the message, and focused too much on making it like logical so people would understand what everything meant. And we just carved out way too much work, and it's completely my fault. Let's send these guys down. And we'll tag this guy and that guy. Actually, is there anyone else in here? There's 2 on the ground. Let's have them take out the ones on the ground first.
Take him out second. With pleasure. Target him. Priority 2.
And then I will get these guys up above.
You're getting jumpy.
Move down.
I swear I don't position that
Smash and clear.
Okay, there's one.
Sorry.
Okay, that actually went off without a hitch. Oh, there's more. Anyone else? Where is it? Oh, he's above. Nice. So far, so good. Pretty clean entry. I like it. What was I talking about?
Fall in. Roger.
Oh, crap. So, apparently this music that plays in here is, it's like copyright. So, I need to turn off the music.
On your 6.
Once we get past this section, I can turn it back up again, but as long as we're in the crazy dragon, we cannot play the music. It's so odd. It's the most random thing ever. It's copyright. So when does world building actually come into the equation? So after you figure out what the story or the narrative of the project is going to be, I think, and again, it depends on what genre you're going for, and the scale as well. You know, in an interpersonal type of story, you don't necessarily need to have the politics of the universe laid out, but it can help. Again, it really just depends. You might be creating unnecessary work for yourself. Let's have them take out these guys first. But one of the key things is just making sure it's applicable and it's consistent. I think consistency is the number one thing. Let's have them flash.
Flash and clear.
Flash and clear. Understood. Spotted. Bagged and tagged. Score another bag, guys.
Pretty good.
Get behind cover.
Okay, we actually cleared this relatively quickly.
Mag change.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever switching off the AK. It's just 2 bullets.
Anyone keeping score?
2 bullets are good. We lost a teammate, but that's okay. Pretty good considering. One guy left. General rule of thumb. I know it's not the end of the world, but in a real like multiplayer game situation, if your teammate is down, you typically do not want to try to res them until the area is clear. I know some people will try to clutch up and like, oh, I don't know if I can take on the enemy without them. It is better for you to run away and come back when the area is safe. And let's say we're playing Fortnite, like get their reboot card, then try to res them, like ninja res them while there are people around you. The chances of you failing are so much higher in that regard. All you have to practice is a little bit of patience. Just wait until the area is clear. Or clear the area yourself and then get the res. Because if you're in a 3 stack and one teammate goes down and you're rezzing them while your other teammate is in a 1v3, that's not a good situation. You're able-bodied. You can get in there and help. Okay, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, wait until it's all over. Anyways, aside from that, I think I'm gonna have these guys post up here on the side, and then I'll go up the middle. This part is a little tricky because there's a lot of enemies, and some of them spawn behind like awkward cover, and they're at different levels. So we're gonna have to get kind of creative here. Okay, so I struggled with this a lot when I was younger, mainly because people always told me that I was really good at writing in English, and so I never thought I had to revise or redraft. Like, I would just, you know, half-ass some assignment and turn it in, and they would say, "Oh wow, this is really good," and so I thought, cool, I'm just always going to do that. Well, it turns out you're not supposed to do that. You know, revising and improving are not important steps of the process. They are mandatory steps of the process. Trying to make a project without revising is perfectly setting yourself up for failure, like 100%. And so I've made it a habit to always go back and try to find ways to make the project better. You know, when I started writing episode 2 at the beginning of this year, I had the entire script done in like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. And I ended up scrapping it completely because it just, I rushed it through. It didn't feel right. There were other reasons too. Like, I couldn't shoot because of some health stuff that I was dealing with, some mental health stuff I was dealing with. But I went back and completely scrapped it, like changed everything. It was not serving the purpose it needed to. Why are my teammates not shooting? I feel like I'm playing Overwatch right now, where the DPS are just watching while the tank and supports try to carry the whole thing.
I can't see them.
Okay, there's just 2 more, and I think they're both on the bottom floor. Gotta clutch up for the clip. Yeah, I know. It's tough out here, man. Here, you know what? We'll just... Oh! As soon as that guy reloads.
Tango down.
Easy peasy. That's awkward. Like, I can't even aim at him because the pillar's in the way. But you have to come up with your rough draft, beginning, middle, and end. And I would say that since we're working with YouTube here, the beginning is super important. Like, getting people to watch in those first few seconds is of utmost priority. You know, you're not working with the conventions of, oh, this person paid a certain amount of money to sit down in the theater and go watch the movie. You're competing with every other thumbnail that pops up on someone's recommended page. So you have to make the title, the artwork, everything about your film stand out. And you have to make the beginning stand out so that people stay invested and they watch. Okay? So that doesn't have to detract from your story. That's not just like some cheap marketing pitch. Those are some of the limitations that, as we mentioned before, you have to work with if you want it to succeed or have a chance of succeeding, because there's no guarantee. So you have to do that, and you have to make sure that your conclusion, especially in my case, since I'm doing a series, naturally leads into something else, and that it provides some sort of resolution to the theme of whatever that episode was about. You know, we can't just explore something and then, yeah, well, anyways, that's how it is, and then move on. You know, the loose ends have to be tied up in some way. Even if they're not done so completely, there should at least be a suggestion to how they're going to be tied up, instead of just, you know, just displaying a bunch of eye candy and then moving on. You know, people won't be invested after that. I need to get back. This is a tough spot here. There's 2 more.
Don't shoot me!
Oh, I actually hit that guy. I don't know where those shots are coming from. I'm just shooting. He can see me through the smoke? That's crazy, bro. Okay. Reloading it. Here we go. Oh, there's always some hacker on the other team, I swear. Okay, so, you know, you have your story. You have it written down. It's perfected. It is pure cinematic mastery. Now you actually have to shoot it. And here's where a lot of people get confused. You don't shoot, like the vast majority of the project is not filming. Most of it
Stack up.
is writing. Most of it is editing. I mean, the writing versus editing, it kind of depends. But it is so far lopsided in those directions versus...
Open and clear.
I'm just going to open and clear.
Hostile eliminated. Watch it, fire!
Actually, let me move further across.
Eliminate. Heavy on the trigger. Bagged in tank.
Nice. It's kind of like hit or miss as to whether or not my teammates actually hit their shots or if they get taken down. But once you have it ready, you have to figure out how you're going to make those shots viable. And I'm telling you right now, you better have them figured out before you show up to set. Otherwise, you're going to waste a lot of time and a lot of other people's time while you're there. Because, you know, 8 hours when you're shooting a film goes by super fast. And you'll find a lot of times it's not enough to get all of the coverage that you were aiming to get.
It's getting crazy out there, Logan.
Get over here.
Engage X-ray down.
Okay, got this area clear. Let's post them up right here real quick. I'm kind of out in the open, but that's fine. We'll just ghost behind some cover at a distance. Alright, so the AK is a little inaccurate. Let's be real. Thankfully, I work with really talented DP and director, and they work really hard putting together a shot list that'll make sense on the day of shooting so that we can maximize our time. We can schedule everything we need, such as food, craft services, you know, when the actors arrive, when we plan to wrap, if we're behind or ahead of schedule, which, let's be real, most of the time you're either barely on schedule or you're behind schedule. That's just how it goes. Did we actually clear this? I'm a little scared going into this hallway, but I'm gonna build the confidence going. Okay, I think we're fine. All right, we just go into this next room. My team is following me. Oh, this is my favorite part of the game. This is actually a real place in Las Vegas, Fremont Street.
Go!
One of my core memories as a child was playing this mission on the Xbox 360, but playing co-op. So you didn't have these squad mates with you. It was just you and one teammate. Or you could have up to 3 other teammates. But it was just me and one other guy playing on realistic, and you know, back in the day I thought realistic was super hard because I was a kid. And we were getting through, man. We were covering each other, we were moving up. There was no mic, no comms. We made it happen. It was a great time. Good memories. Oddly enough, me playing this game was sort of the inspiration behind how I wanted to coach my esports guys, because just that level of connection and like you feel a sense of brotherhood in a way. Assuming my teammate was a dude, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was siblinghood. That's really powerful. It's like Vin Diesel says, family. Feel that sense of family. That's how I felt playing Rainbow Six Vegas. I know it sounds cheesy, but it was so real, man. It was so real.
Double time.
All right, let's move these guys up here. And that's kind of how you feel on a film set too. Like, you guys are mutually experiencing this super challenging experience. You're all trying to make a vision come to life, and depending on the context of the set, like the shot that you have to go for, it's really hard. And you guys got to be with each other long hours, and you got to come up with solutions and get creative and make things work. It's you know, it's not easy, but it's so much fun. And the unexpected moments, the laughs that you have along the way are what make it all worth it. Ah! That, not so much. That's not really worth it. I don't enjoy that aspect so much. Hey, what's up, Elias? Is this the new Tom Clancy game? I wish. I wish it was a new Tom Clancy game. Gotta do the family quote deeper. Yeah, I don't think my voice can get that deep.
We're with you.
Family. Yeah, you feel like a family on set. Not always, you know. I actually feel like you experience more of that family feeling when you do theater, especially as an actor, because you are prepping for months and rehearsing for months for the big days of actually producing. You're working with the costumer and the makeup artist to get your look just right. And everyone stays together throughout that process. When you do a film, sometimes you only meet someone for one day, and sometimes you don't meet them at all. Like if you're doing a voice acting type gig, maybe your schedules don't line up and you're not in the studio talking together. You're recording them separately. So it's, you know, it can be impersonal. But if you're a producer, I feel like you spend more time with all of the parts and pieces and the people than the parts and pieces themselves. You know, everyone's kind of doing their own thing on a film set, which, you know, that's okay. That's just simply the nature of the beast. But it's cool in my eyes. Like I always wanted to have a job where you didn't just show up to work every day and it was kind of the stasis, if you will. I wanted there to be a clear beginning, a reason why everyone is together, a common goal, and then a bittersweet conclusion. Like, you know, you all talk after having gone through this experience together and go, man, I can't believe we did that. I can't believe we made that happen. Maybe we had some disagreements along the way, but it was just so awesome getting to work with you, and it makes me excited to do another project with you in the future. All of those aspects are what make it worth it in my eyes. Oh, last bullet.
You come and get me, bitches.
Oh yeah, oh, dude, the same guy. The same guy. Maybe I'm not gonna go up top this time. It usually works out just fine, but today, not so much. Not working out that good. I heard there was a new one. So the newest one I'm aware of is Tom Clancy's X-Defiant. If you ask me, that game does not look very good. Sorry, just being honest. I don't like that game.
Hustle.
I mean, I like the characters they use in that game in their own games, but not when they're all combined in that one. It just looks so goofy. It's a weird Overwatch clone using different Tom Clancy IPs. So I'm not a fan. I've watched numerous gameplay videos, and I unless it comes out and like people have rave reviews about it, it just doesn't look very appealing to me. But we'll see. Anyways, Elias, how are you doing? Good to see you. It came out in Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Yeah, that was I was considering getting Breakpoint at one point, but it again, very, very poor reviews. Okay, let's move my team up. What am I doing? This is a great opportunity to cross up. So we've got some pure paintball fundamentals coming in here. one of the challenging parts, and this kind of goes into the advanced filmmaking realm, is figuring out how we're going to use the storytelling, or how we're going to use the practical camera work to enhance the storytelling.
Reloading.
Did I actually hit those guys? Oh, there's two more over here.
Engaging tango.
These shrubs are just too tall for me to see over them, which makes it really awkward.
Engaging tango. You're hit.
Oh, need to get out of there.
Tango. Flashbang. One down.
Oh, we actually made it up. Let me. Do you think this side is safe, guys? Like, is anyone gonna pop up behind me? I hope not. Oh, there is someone there. They're on the kiosk.
Engaging tango.
I got him. I think. There's another one. It's a different guy. Here, let's see if we can frag him. Nope, that did not make. I'm not making it to the MLB, that's for sure. Let's bait our team a little bit. I know it's unethical, but we gotta make something happen here, right? Someone's gotta move in.
Copy that. Under heavy fire. Tango down.
He says under heavy fire. The guy hasn't even fired back. Oh, there we go. That made him move.
Regroup on me.
Roger that.
It would take forever, but I think it would be pretty awesome to record or stream something like Baldur's Gate 3 with 4 players. That would be really awesome. I agree. Especially if everyone's like super wacky, charismatic. Panda, thank you so much for the like on Facebook. Man, I feel bad for those guys on the mounted turrets. Like, they just don't stand a chance. They don't move. This was back in the day before we had the Tachanka memes, so they never would have fixed that. Okay. Looks like we're clear there. I'm okay, bro. Just spent the whole day cleaning the house, which is somewhat rewarding, I get. Dude, it's super rewarding. You kidding me? Sometimes the mental health payoff of cleaning the house is... You just feel like you're so much more clear-minded when things are clean. Oh, that's not a small deal. I think that's awesome.
Thanks, Joe.
Good on you. I need to do the same, honestly. Have you played many fighting games? I'll tell you what my favorite fighting game is, and you're either gonna laugh or you're gonna have no clue what I'm talking about. It's Kung Fu Chaos. You guys ever heard of Kung Fu Chaos? We're gonna take a little detour real quick. This was on the original Xbox. Is there... Oh, let's watch the intro. The intro's... Oh, wait, no. It's copyright music. Gameplay.
Are you tired of sweating through the summer and paying exorbitant
Let's
electricity
hope
bills for home air conditioning?
This doesn't
If you
have
want-
it. Oh, it has it. Okay, let's skip ahead. Okay, this right here, my favorite party game, better than Super Smash Bros. Changed my mind. All right, what are they gonna do? They're gonna do story mode, championship, freestyle.
Director has gathered you here today. Stupid actors, for today.
Stupid actors.
With Kung Fu Chaos.
So the idea is this guy is a movie director, and he's trying to shoot a kung fu movie.
So stop standing around
And how well you take out the enemies, like that,
Going to bathroom now? We haven't even
that determines how good the shot comes out. Okay, so this is the tutorial. Let's skip ahead. The fighting was actually kind of hard, I'll be honest. Like these red ninjas, like they could mess you up if you took any damage. Like if you were going for a perfect damage run, it'd be hard.
And suddenly, Ninja Clan attack.
Okay, so the story is so paper thin.
You play the heroic, peace-loving kung fu champion, minding your own business. When suddenly, Ninja Clan attack.
So I love how they just steal from other kung fu movie tropes. Like it's just the peaceful kung fu master minding their own business, and then for whatever reason, Ninja Clan attacks. What the heck? You'd probably like the flashy combat of For. Oh, I've played For Honor. I've definitely played For Honor. I guess I never considered that a fighting game because it wasn't like 1v1 sides. I guess not every game has to be side view. So, however many ninjas you take out affects the counter at the bottom, and you want to try to get 5 stars to get a perfect score. And you need a minimum of 3 in order to complete the stage. Also, the set progressions in this game was super cool. Okay, you would start off in one area, like there's a Titanic level, and as the ship is like going lopsided, you're fighting on different areas. It's so sick. For the original Xbox, I thought it was incredible. And you'll see what happens here. Like a big table's gonna go through the upper section of the deck, and it's going to force the combatants to move onto the riverbank. And like you can tell like the extras in the background or the camera people are in the shot because they're like swinging around all crazy. It's hilarious. I love how they like went full on with the film trope. Oh, see it. It's like the protagonist just he just lost to the prop, to the set design. And he'll yell at you periodically if the shot's not going well. It's pretty great. A friend had that game. Oh, it's the best. You could do 1v1v1 v1, and you're moving through this progression just like, you know, the just like in the story mode, and it's so funny, and people will get their ultimate abilities. Actually, come to think of it, there's so many modern games that take the tropes from these old games and utilize them. It makes me feel like this was really ahead of its time. Oh, but some of the ultimates were crazy. Like one of them was it was basically like an auto kill button. He would like cast an ability and it would create orbs, and the orbs would follow you, and if they hit you, no matter how much health you had, you respawned, like you were done. You could outrun them, but it was insanely hard. Like you had to use tons of movement and already be kind of far away, and then like be really acrobatic about it. A lot of balance issues for sure, but it's good times. You're like fighting, like he just stays in the water, and you have to make sure you move at a certain rate, and like that's gonna. I don't know how he didn't jump out of the way of that. That's so obvious. And you notice the prop is a statue of the director. Like this is a straight up Tommy Wiseau action film. Smash Bros. 64 might have be the first party fighter game. Not sure though. Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, that would have come out before technically, because the original Xbox was in 2001, 2002. Oh, and it was so satisfying when you would get hits in this game. That timer in the top right represents how long the scene is going to be before it moves on. I love the idea that it's all just one shot. And like this was completely unplanned. Like the stunt crew didn't foresee that the entire prop was going to fall, and all of the fighting is just real. Though, to be fair, if you guys go back and watch some Jackie Chan movies, a lot of the stuff that he did was insane. Like, it was real. It was basically this game. You know, they didn't know what was going to happen, but Jackie was just like, all right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do it. Like, if you guys have ever seen that scene where he's falling down he's falling down that like escalator shaft or elevator shaft, and all the lights are exploding next to him. It's crazy. Oh, so this is the final boss fight, and you can, damn, the person playing this is horrible. So you see those floating stars. When someone's down on the ground, you can taunt them and it stuns them longer. And once you get three taunts, then it charges up your ability. Bro, what is she doing? Oh, never mind. This one's also like an auto kill feature. Some of the other ones are more OP though because you control them. Like it's a beam that comes out of your face, and if you just look in their direction, then you instantly take them out.
Applying for residency right now.
So,
wish me luck. Grammarly has again.
Oh, such a great game. What are the comments? This needs a remake. Can't imagine it would cost too much, and I think it would still hold up today. This would be a great game to remake. I don't think it's playable backwards compatible anymore, which is unfortunate. This is one of my favorite of all time, very underrated. Nostalgia is overflowing. Yep, I love this game, man. Such good times, dude. Jackie Chan is crazy. He's insane. I don't think anyone will be able to top some of the stunts he's done. Also, they won't have to top some of the stunts he's done because technology and equipment have advanced to the point where you don't have to do them like that, you know? Well, Tom Cruise, I would say Tom Cruise is probably the closest. But he just does crazy stuff for the sake of it, I feel like. So one of the things I forgot to mention before is music. Music plays a really major role in like the creative process, but also the final process, right? Like sometimes my entire idea stems from the fact that I really want to use a song on camera use a song on screen. Just because it speaks to me so much and I want visuals to go with it, you know? It's kind of unfortunate that I never became a musician or a singer because I think making music videos are my favorite format. And it's funny because there's a lot of musicians who have no interest in the film aspect, but to me it's like, God, I love it so much. I wish I had the excuse. I mean, I've still made music videos without being a musician, but it's a lot harder to justify the narrative and the meaning behind it when you're not really singing it. You know, you're just kind of you become a set piece in a music video, you know? And if it's a short film, then, well, it's just a short film. The music is unnecessary. But I like the idea of setting the visuals to a specific music, whether it's the beat or the VFX or anything like that. Both of them are crazy. Yeah. Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise are absolutely out of their minds.
Frag and clear.
I think I'm going to play first floor this time. Actually, we want the night vision. Nice shots. Lots of frag in there. Oh, that actually got someone. I know there are people above, but I'm a little turned around right now. I don't know where the scaffolding is. Oh, no, never mind. That's in a later section. That is in a later section. Okay, let's get our squad mates back. There was a point in my life where I considered doing stunts. Like, I thought that was something I'd be interested in.
You hear that?
Straight out of high school, I fell in love with parkour and freerunning, and I loved doing stunts of that sort. And there was a possibility that I might be doing it in film. Like I did it for a couple of videos. Like I would do parkour videos, or I would do a scene that involved parkour, and I enjoyed it. But then I realized later on, I had a greater love for the actual performance aspect, the storytelling, than I did the stunts. You know, those are simply one avenue of conveying emotion, but not the penultimate avenue for conveying it. So I wanted to have a little bit more variety. Also, stunts tend to be something that you get pigeonholed into, and it is very based on like if you have family that's involved in stunts, it's very likely that that's going to be what you do, you know. So I figured, you know what, this is not for me. I enjoy doing parkour for fun, but I don't have any interest doing it as a career, you know. It's just, you know, over time it would be really hard on my body and it would be too risky. So I just, you know, I'm very grateful I ended up teaching it to kids, because I think that's kind of the perfect level for me that I wanted to work at. There's a dude right there and my teammates are not even giving him any resistance. Like, what's up with that? Wow, he one-taps me there. You know, I think that might actually be a good point. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me there. Let me get a little bit of let's get some outro music here. That was a really, really fun stream. I enjoyed chatting about where inspiration sort of comes from in the creative process. And I want to thank you guys for taking part in it and providing your own insight, your own experience, especially to you, Alex, as a game developer or game designer. I love hearing about how that works. I've had minimal experience doing that, but you know, it would be cool if you made a game. I would definitely be willing to try it out and stream it if you did. If you guys like this sort of content, make sure you follow over on TikTok, like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow on Kick. Yeah, like on Facebook as well. There's too many avenues by which you can interact with the stream. Just pick the one that works best for you. That's all I ask. All right. So thank you again. And I just want to reiterate some of the practical tools that you can utilize is taking a visual that is important to you and then really clarifying what the overall vision of the project is, what the grand scheme of things look like to you for that project. So that's what I want you to come away with after this stream. And if you have any thoughts that you want to share or project experiences that you have had, please share them either in chat or in the comments afterwards. I would love to hear them. And you might just give me an idea for another live stream. Okay. Hey, sorry, dealing with mom, kids, and homework. No worries, Panda. You do your thing. You take care of whatever you got to do. All right. Much love. I'll see you in the next one. Guys, make sure you be gentle with yourselves. And also, no 0 days. If you don't know what I mean by that, make sure you join the Discord, because I just posted a video over in the resources channel talking about no 0 days. It's a very important concept that has helped me even in my off days where I feel like procrastinating and not getting anything done. We overestimate how much we can do in one day, but we underestimate how much we can accomplish over a long period of time. And all it takes is a tiny bit of consistency. So I highly encourage you to check that out again over on the Discord, link in my description when you get a chance. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.